Hello and welcome back to Two Chicks and a Horror Flick. I'm Tawny Ray.
And I'm Felicia Connor.
And today, our movie that we're going to be talking about is Hostel from 2005.
Yes.
I am so fucking stoked to talk about this movie. It is, you already know this probably if you listen to our podcast, but it is one of my absolute favorites. And every time I watch this movie, I am just it reaffirms for me how much I love this movie. Which makes me sound
in love all over again.
I do, honestly. Honestly, I love this movie so much. So I actually don't think I've ever looked anything up about this movie, which is weird because one of my favorite things to do even before we started this podcast was after I watched a movie or rewatched a movie that I loved, I would go and read the trivia about it. And I actually don't think I've ever read trivia about this movie. So it was a whole new discovery process. And again, it just increased my love for this movie. So I'm so excited to talk about it. But let's slow it down. Let's bring it back. And let's talk about...
I felt like as soon as you said that, I wished that some slow jazz music came in at that point.
And let's talk about the fact that we're both wearing matching shirts. Our Night of the Living Karen shirt. We need to take a picture of this and post it and tag my friend Trenton who made these shirts. Oh. I don't know if you can buy them anymore, but they're really great. It's one of my favorite shirts.
Do it.
What are you drinking today, Felicia?
Dude, I am drinking water out of my Healthy Human bottle.
Nice.
We're not an affiliate. I just really love my bottle. And I've been sick all week. Me and my girls are all sick. Sore throats, fevers. So I'm feeling like my body was aching, but I'm feeling like that is feeling a little better. But my throat still has this this rawness, and I thought, if I push it and have a martini or something, we're gonna have that experience. Remember when I was coughing all the damn time?
I do.
Episodes back, and I'm like, I'm not gonna do it. I'm just gonna drink water.
That was 3 or 4 weeks long. I have to say, as the person who edits our episodes, I am glad that you're not still coughing a bunch. And I'm glad for you, obviously, as a person.
Oh, thanks, Tawny. You're a great friend there. So glad for me that you're not sick anymore.
But mostly, I'm glad for me.
Yes, I know. I tried so hard. So I didn't want to recreate that. So I'm drinking water.
Well, I appreciate that.
You're welcome. What are you drinking?
I've got some whiskey.
Nice.
I tried to drink a beer yesterday, and it tasted good, but, made me feel all bloaty. So yeah, I'm just sticking with my whiskey. I made a little cheap old-fashioned again today, so that's what I got going on.
Nice. I love a whiskey. I love a bourbon. Yum, yum.
Mm-hmm. Yum, yum.
Yum, yum. I know. I don't know even where that came from. I think I watched too many cartoons with TT and...
Hey, you know what? It felt right to me.
Okay,
I really resonated with it, so...
Oh, it's funny.
Have you... Go ahead.
I'm really excited about this next bit.
Okay.
Because I definitely didn't do as good as all of our other podcaster friends, but I did way better than I've ever done. So the next bit of what have you been watching?
And listening to.
Listening to, yes.
Yep.
All right. Okay. So I have my little list here. I did watch several shows. So let's start with that because I want to end with the podcast because it's the most fun. I watched this Netflix, The Best Stand-Up of 2020. The reason I paused that way is because I wrote 2021 and I'm like, that would be two months of the best stand-up, and I don't think that would be a Netflix show. It was super funny. There were comedians I never even heard of before. Probably everybody else has, but I hadn't, and I was cracking up. So it was really good. It was a bunch of little bits from different comedy shows. It was great. The next thing I watched that I literally had a full post, but you guys didn't get to get it. A full post reaming this movie. It's called I Care a Lot. And I won't spoil it or anything. I'll just let you know it's about a woman, because you know this right by watching the trailer. It's a woman who makes money off of she takes, it's not ownership, it's guardianship over elderly people. She pays off doctors to say that they're incompetent, and then she steals all their money and stuff like that. Okay. So it's infuriating. You're watching it and first of all, it's terrifying to think that, you know, you can live your whole life and you could, you know, build this nest egg and just like live comfortably or live however you want to live, you know, the latter part of your life, and have someone do this. It's terrifying. So you hate her. And you don't hate her like, you know, there's Asami.
Yeah.
Am I saying her name right? Because I love her.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so.
So like Asami, she's terrible and you love her. Like she's an evil character you love. This woman you hate. Like you don't want her to win. She keeps winning. I'm not going to tell you anything about the movie, but the whole time I'm sitting there and I have the other character who is a bad guy, but you love him. He played oh my God, he played in so many movies. He was an elf. He played in the Game of Thrones.
Oh, is it Peter Dinklage?
Yes, I love him. He's a bad character, but you love him, right? So anyways, the movie is almost over and I'm just like, what are you kidding me right now? Like, what is Netflix trying to say? Like, I don't understand why she hasn't gotten her comeuppance. You know, I don't. And I had this whole post. This is garbage. I had a trash can that wiggled back and forth. Like, I was ready. And then I won't tell you anything else. I still like don't highly recommend it, but something happens where you're like, okay, but there's that. I care a lot. Oh gosh, if you want to just feel angry and anxiety ridden for, you know, a couple hours, watch that.
Okay. Raving review.
And then the last one, Netflix, I am watching Behind Her Eyes. It is like a psychological thriller. I read the book a year ago and the book was great. So I'm super stoked that they created this little series about the book. So far, they've been doing it justice and I really like it.
Okay, neat.
All right.
Sounds like good ones. I haven't seen either of those. So,
have you seen Soul?
No.
Okay, because we were talking the other day about limiting beliefs and all of that sort of thing. So today, my oldest daughter's sick, and myself and Titi, we're all laying on the sofa, and we watched Soul. And yeah, I won't say anything else about it because it is so sweet.
But you recommend it? It's good.
I highly recommend Soul. It's what a sweet, beautiful little movie. Now let's get into the good stuff. The podcasts. I was at my desk and would turn to my phone on its charger and open Apple Podcasts and turn on a podcast every day. So I was super happy. Some took me, you know, a couple days to finish. But first, I listened to The Horror Project, their episode on the Invisible Man, the one that we did. It was so great. They're so funny, and they have this like really great chemistry and this back and forth, and they make me laugh constantly. And when they deliver, it's not like they're trying. I don't know if they're trying to make you laugh, but they're so matter of fact. It just cracks me up.
Effortless. I love them too. They're so great.
Oh my gosh, it was so much fun. And then I listened to a podcast.
I'm excited. By the way, let me just say that one's on my list to listen to because I feel like everywhere that I look, everywhere I turn, people fucking loved The Invisible Man. I feel like I'm the only person on earth who didn't like that movie. And I'm like, what is wrong with me? And so I wanted to listen to their podcast because I was like, did they love it? I don't know. Am I alone?
I'll let you find out.
Okay. Keep going. I'm sorry.
No, don't be. Yeah, it's so much fun. Listen to it, definitely. Next is a podcast on Elm Street. And if you're looking in Apple Podcasts, look for a podcast on Elm Street. Because I typed in podcast on Elm Street and something else came up. And I was like, do they have different cover art? Because it didn't look like their Instagram. And I was like, I don't trust it. I'm gonna look at, and then I looked up a podcast on Elm Street and I found it. And they are so, but same thing. I listened to the Lost Boys episode because that's I love that movie, The Lost Boys. And so I listened to that episode and it was so much fun. And it's the same thing, like their pauses, their not moments of silence, like it's sad, but like they're quiet and like they kind of just deliver the information, then they're quiet and the other one goes, okay, so it just made me laugh.
It's very dry sometimes.
Yes.
It's dry humor.
Yes, and I thought they did a really great job of like going through the movie, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I love those guys. Those guys are great too. Like, I listened to their Hush episode this week.
Yes.
And I love that movie and I liked that episode and it was all just very good. It reminded me how much I love that movie. And I was like, fuck, we gotta watch that.
Yeah, me too. When they were talking about Lost Boys, I was like, oh shit, I remember that. How I want to see it again. Like, it's been so long.
Yeah.
I commented on their post. I had that soundtrack on record.
The Lost Boys?
Yes.
Interesting.
I had the record soundtrack of The Lost Boys, and I would play it over and over again. Okay, next, I only have two more. Do I Like This? So I listened to the Do I Like This, the uninvited episode. I had to because first of all, I wanted to. And that one really stuck out to me because that was the one when we were chatting with them the other day. It was the cat one.
Okay.
And they actually holler at us in that episode.
Oh, shit.
They said we, hung out with a group of podcasters. It was hosted by two chicks and a horror flick, and it was just lovely, and they had such a great time, so I really loved hearing that. Oh my gosh, it was so funny. They are so good. Again,
they are so funny too, right?
Great. Yes. Oh my God. I think she said something like, if you want to look at this, Google it. No, don't Google it because I don't want you to waste a moment of your life on this. I'll Google it for you. It's just so great. And
So
it made
fun.
me want to watch that movie, that even though they're saying it's so terrible, it made me want to watch it.
Totally. I listened to their, what was it called? Like Death Machine, I think is what the movie is called. And it's got like Brad Dourif in it, who is the voice of Chucky.
Oh,
and
yes,
I was like, this is not really my jam, but like the B-rate movies, but I really want to watch this movie now that I've listened to them talk about it. It sounds so totally insane. I love them and what they've got going on over there. And they are going to be a guest actually in March of our podcast. And I think we're working out dates on us going and being a guest on their podcast. So be on the lookout for that. I'm excited.
So that's going to be fun, dude. I'm so excited for that. That is going to be so much fun. Yeah, I feel like I would like the movie even just because I would have what they said about it in the back of my head as I watched the movie. So I feel like I would enjoy the movie more.
Yeah, it's like a totally different experience rather than like, I don't know, watching it out of the blue and like hating on it in a like mad way. It's like, I don't know.
I totally, we're on the same page.
Yeah.
Last but not least, I listened to Because You Were Home. So two lovely ladies, Because You Were Home. I think I saw a post in my feed, or maybe they had commented on something. I don't remember how I found them, but I saw the Because You Were Home. Hello, it's like my favorite movie
Strangers.
ever. Right. So I was like, oh my God, I loved your name. And then so I went and looked them up. And I listened to an episode. Wow, they are fun. They are fun. I love these two. And they were doing an episode with First Class Horror. And what a cool guy. And his story. And he was talking about, go listen to the episode. I'll just give you one little thing. He was talking about how he literally just reached out to the director of Blair Witch Project.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Dan Myrick.
It made me think of you. And I believe it was the director. Was it the writer? No, I think it was the director. But anyways, and he was like, whatever. If he doesn't reach back out to me, that's cool. And he did. So it was so cool. But what really inspiring stuff they were talking about in the beginning. The whole episode was great. In the beginning, they were talking about some really inspiring stuff about just getting out and doing your thing. And if you are, like if your podcast episode didn't get a lot of views or your video or whatever, that a lot of times will make people give up. Like, people don't want to hear my stuff, but that's not the case. Just keep going. Just totally keep going. So anyways,
that.
it was a great episode. So that's what I got. That's what I did this week. I think it's a lot.
That is a lot, dude. You did a lot.
Proud.
I already hit the podcast that I think I listened to, which was really just the one Hush from A Podcast on Elm Street. And I did finish the last season of The Sinner. Have you gotten any further into that?
I haven't, not yet.
Okay. No spoilers. I didn't love the second season. I think I really fucking liked this season though. Like it was really interesting in the themes that they dealt with. Like I really liked it. And it left me with that same feeling of like, well, I would say it left me with a similar feeling of like, it's dark. This show is fucking dark. Mm-hmm. And God, it just was very heavy. But I really liked it. And I think it was better than the second season. I still don't think it's anywhere near the first, but people online fucking hate this season. So I'm also alone on an island liking the third season, I think.
Okay, maybe I'll finish it tonight.
All right. So Hostel was made in 2005. It does have sequels. It's got a 2 and a 3. But we're talking about the first one. The director and writer for this movie is Eli Roth, who I am going to have a whole section of trivia because I fucking love this guy.
Oh, shit. I don't know anything about him.
Ooh, I'm excited to tell you all the things.
I know some things, but okay. I thought you were going to test me.
Oh, no.
I thought that's what you meant by trivia. Sorry. I was like, oh shit.
No, I don't expect you to know anything. I'm just going to have...
Oh, wow. Did you guys hear that? She doesn't expect me to know anything. I'm just kidding. I don't think that much of you. I'm kidding.
Yeah. No, I just meant that I am going to have a whole, love fest party, if you will, on Eli Roth. So just buckle up and prepare for that, okay? Because I'm going to try to talk anybody into liking Eli Roth who doesn't currently like him. We're going to start there, and then we're going to get into the movie. Okay. But anyway, I'm going to stop. We're not quite there yet. What I want to mention first is that Eli Roth is like besties with Quentin Tarantino and has worked with David Lynch, which is awesome and impressive. He has directed the movies. I haven't listed them all here. I just did like notable horror ones. Cabin Fever. And he actually met Quentin Tarantino at the premiere of Cabin Fever. Oh. Which is insane. Hostel 2, The Green Inferno, Knock Knock. This has Keanu Reeves. I don't know if you've seen this one.
Is that the one where the girls come to his house?
Yes.
I haven't seen it.
Okay. Death Wish, and he will be directing the upcoming Borderlands movie, which is a movie based on a video game. And he's also been a producer on several movies, and he co-founded Crypt TV, which is like a short form horror thing. You can find their videos on YouTube. I think that's primarily where they are. And obviously, you hear me talk all the time about Eli Roth's history of horror, which he did and lives on Shudder, and there's like a corresponding podcast for that too. So let me just tell you why I love Eli Roth. He, like I said, I think he does a really good job of mixing comedy and horror. And one of the first horror movies that I remember watching when I was like anywhere between like 7 and 13. And actually, I don't even know when Cabin Fever was made, so I apologize. But it was somewhere in there. Like I was young and it scared me. Like I remember being scared. But there is comedy in Cabin Fever. But I don't remember the comedy because I was like too young to understand it. Mm-hmm. I just remember being scared. And it's graphic. Have you seen this movie?
No.
Okay. We are definitely going to watch it at some point. It's really good. And you can tell that he is an insanely huge horror fan. And he's a student of like horror films and directors, and you'll kind of get a sense for that like as I go through some of the trivia on this movie and him. And just the fact that he's like worked for David Lynch, like that is fucking crazy. And he did Crypt TV. He started a production company with like 2 other guys called Raw Nerve. I think they only did like a few movies though.
I recognize that name because it came up in a movie I watched and I said out loud, "Ooh, God."
Yeah.
Ouch. What a name. That makes me cringe.
Yeah, it's like really perfect, I think, for an Eli Roth, name. But he also had just by himself has produced several movies, including The Last Exorcism. So it's he's great. Also, I just have like a major crush on him as a person.
Eli Roth. I don't. I watched the Shudder show that you told me to. Oh yeah. Okay. This
Yeah.
guy. Okay, yeah. Sorry, I couldn't picture him in my head. Okay.
He could be Zachary Quinto's brother. He looks almost exactly like Zachary Quinto.
Is Zachary Quinto that boy that you love from the... No, okay.
No. I don't even think we've talked about Zachary Quinto.
Okay.
But he was in one of the seasons of American Horror Story.
Okay.
He was Spock from the new Star Trek movies.
Shut up.
And
oh my God, I love him. You don't
what
even
else
need
has
to
he been
say
in?
anymore. I
what
love
else has he
this
been
man. This man. Heroes. I
Yeah,
haven't pulled up right here.
Heroes. That's what I was thinking of. Yeah.
Oh, I love him. He was in Snowden. I don't know if you saw that. Yes, thank you. I love this guy.
He's great. But anyway, back to Eli Roth. Love him. He's great. He's just a fucking cool guy. And so let me sell you on Eli Roth before we even talk about this movie. Okay, although his films are frequently advertised as such, he reportedly does not personally take the film by or an Eli Roth film credit because he believes that people should be able to distinguish your work from the film itself. He believes filmmaking is a collaborative process and feels the credit disrespects the people who brought their own creativity to the project.
That's
I thought
cool.
that was cool, down to earth.
Yeah, that's cool.
He is considered one of the most profitable directors working in film today. Both of his first films earned over 5 times their production cost at the box office opening weekend.
Okay. He is considered the most profitable director of all the directors out there?
One of.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I was like, whoa. That like blows my mind. I would have never guessed. Okay. One of. Cool.
Yeah. How many there is, obviously we don't know, but his favorite movie is Cannibal Holocaust, whose director, Ruggero Deodato, I hope I'm saying that right, appears in his own film, Hostel Part 2. Another of his favorites is the British cult horror classic, The Wicker Man.
Oh, snap! That's great that we're going to be reviewing that this month then. Oh, cool.
I know. And actually, in like a very weird way, this was a perfect fucking movie. We didn't even plan this, but It's a perfect movie to sandwich in between Audition and The Wicker Man, because Audition is what inspired him, partially, to create Hostel. And Takashi Miike makes a cameo in this movie, Hostel. Oh. And then... we move on to The Wicker Man, and I actually have a couple more tidbits about The Wicker Man later. So very exciting.
That is cool. Don't give away too much on The Wicker Man because I want to do the research for that.
No. It's about Hostel, but it references The Wicker Man, so.
Wow.
Yeah.
Look at that. We didn't even do that on purpose.
I know, isn't that
just
like a weird...
flowed that way naturally through the universe.
Yes. What's
cool.
that called?
Kismet? Fate, Kismet, Serendipity?
Serendipity is what I was thinking of, yeah. Very serendipitous, yeah.
Yes.
Roth photographs, edits, and scores his films like 1970s dramas. He does not use the modern MTV style of fast cutting and prefers the filmmaking techniques not to be noticed and take a backseat to the story and the performances.
Okay.
He has expressed on like multiple occasions too in that history of horror his love of, I think, both 70s movies and giallo, which is like Italian, really gory shit. And you can definitely see that influence in his movies, like Cannibal Holocaust to The Green Inferno. It's like a very similar setup, right? Like a bunch of people who end up going into the jungle and being eaten by cannibals. And so you can see that play out. But these next couple things that I brought, I wanted to just... I think he gets a bad rap as a like torture porn, like all gore, just, being gory for the sake of being gory. He did a Reddit AMA. Stands for Ask Me Anything, if you're not familiar with that. And I actually went back and pulled a couple of answers from that AMA that I thought were worth bringing in here, that I think illustrate why he is not just a super shallow gore film director.
Gore whore?
Gore whore, yes. So someone asked, In an age where the internet offers very real images of horrific gore and mutilation, what direction should horror movies that rely heavily on gore or body mutilation take in order to keep a solid audience? And he said, it's entirely about original story. People get gore on TV now. It's not the shock or thrill it used to be. It's all about a story you can engage an audience in, or the gore doesn't matter. It's all window dressing.
That's good. That's a good quote.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. And then in a second answer, I pulled this line out, but he said, gore is like ingredients on a pizza. Too much topping, it doesn't make the pizza tastier. It overshadows it. You need just the right amount to work.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I personally think he does a very good job of balancing gore with story and what is actually happening to make it very scary. It's obviously shocking, but it's very scary. But it's not just there for the sake of being shocking.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. From this movie specifically, thinking back on it, I totally agree with that.
Yeah. Okay, so now I'm going to get off my Eli Roth soapbox. And, well, maybe not. I might bring it back up. But let me just tell you the people, mainly, who are in this movie. So we've got Jay Hernandez, who plays Paxton, Derek Richardson, who plays Josh, and Athor Gudjonsson, I hope I'm saying that right, who plays Ollie. And, side note here, Eli Roth wrote the role of Ollie for him after he met him doing a press release, or doing press for Cabin Fever in Iceland. Roth was so taken by his charisma and charm, he promised he'd put him in a film one day. And Ether was surprised when he saw that Roth had followed through with his promise and happily accepted the role.
That's cool. Oh, man. That is
I thought
really
that was
cool.
really fun. Yeah. And then I had a couple of just honorable mentions as far as cast goes. I didn't go super far into the cast because it's mainly those three that we follow. But I wanted to, again, mention that Takashi Miike is in this movie as one of the clients. And then we've got Rick Hoffman, who played the American client. This guy is way later in the movie, and he comes in during the locker scene, and he's total psychopath.
I recognize this guy. I've seen him in something, CSI or some type of something.
I thought he looked familiar too, but I looked him up, and he wasn't in anything that I recognized. He's in Suits.
What's his name?
TV shows. Rick Hoffman.
Oh, yes. You just said something. Suits. And it's so weird. Suits. I literally think I've seen 2 episodes of it when it came out.
Weird.
I have no... I don't know why I remember him so much.
Me either. I wonder if he looks like somebody else that I'm mixing him up with or something. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe, because I immediately was like, oh, this guy. And the response was I didn't remember his name, but I thought he was someone that I've seen a lot in a lot of stuff. But no. Interesting. Okay, yeah, that guy.
So the budget on this is $4.8 million. Box office was $82 million.
Wow, good job, guys.
Such a difference. IMDb gave this a 5.9, Rotten Tomatoes gave it 61%, and 79% of Google users liked this movie.
Okay.
So, now it's time for 2 minutes with Tawny.
Oh shit, Tawny. You need a drink? Before
I do feel like I need a break or something.
Yeah, I know. Oh, shoot.
God, I've been talking a lot.
That's funny.
I'm parched.
Oh, my God.
Friends Josh and Paxton go backpacking across Europe after graduating from college. They stop in Amsterdam to smoke weed and pay for sex and meet a fun Icelander named Ollie, a.k.a. the King of the Swing. When they get locked out of their hostel for a night, a man named Alexei invites them up to hang out and talks them into going to Slovakia to find the most beautiful girls to hook up with. On the train there, they have a creepy encounter with a man, and when he places a hand on Josh's leg, Josh overreacts and the man leaves. Once there, they meet their female roommates Natalia and Svetlana, who invite them to the spa. They go to the spa and make friends with the women who invite them to a club later. Ollie gets separated from them, and everyone has sex. That's what I wrote.
That's perfect. That's exactly what happened.
That is what happens. I wrote this kind of in a hurry, so everybody just
Clear cut,
stick
man.
with me. That is what happened.
Yes.
Presumably, I guess.
Times 3, and then that's what I was kidding.
Right, and then the next morning, the front desk tells them Ollie checked out. Kana, another woman staying at the hostel, shows them a photo her friend sent her of her and Ollie together. Although they are a little suspect, they go back to the club with Natalia and Svetlana and are drugged. Josh gets taken from the hostel while Paxton passes out in a back room. Josh wakes up in a dungeon, pretty much, with his torturer, the Danish businessman from the train, who explains he wanted to be a surgeon but was denied due to his shaking hands. He drills into Josh's torso and legs, slits his Achilles, and tells him he can leave. But obviously, when Josh goes to stand up, he falls down and tries to crawl to the door. The man picks him up off the floor, and Josh pleads with him, telling him he'll pay whatever he wants. The businessman says he is the one paying before slitting his throat. The next day, Paxton wakes up and goes back to the hostel. The front desk says Josh has also checked out, so Paxton goes looking for the women to get some answers. They bring him to a warehouse where he's grabbed and tied up. A German man comes in to torture him but loses his nerve when Paxton begins to choke on his own vomit. By the way, writing this 2 minutes with Tawny today was like, I was like, what am I even doing? This is it's such a weird experience having to write this. It's so fucking gory and like terrible that I sound like an insane person trying to like recount this movie for you. Anyway, I just had to recognize that before we kept going. The German torturer tries to cut his handcuffs off of Paxton, but accidentally cuts off 2 of his fingers with the chainsaw. He then slips on one of the fingers and lands on the chainsaw, allowing Paxton time to knock over the chair, grab the gun, and kill him. He runs through the facility, eventually ending up in a locker room where he disguises himself to escape. He runs into a psychopath in there who reveals this is a facility where people pay to torture and murder human beings for a high price. Paxton is almost home free, almost, when he hears the screams of a woman. He re-enters the building to rescue Kana from his old pal from the locker room, who is burning her face with a blowtorch. He shoots the man, frees Kana, and cuts off her dangling eyeball before they escape in a car. Oh yeah, by the way, this is a moment that I should just take to say everybody is in on this deal, like even the police, right? So while they're escaping, Paxton sees Alexei, Natalia, and Svetlana and runs them over. So then they make it to a train station where Kana catches her reflection and sees how fucked up her face is and commits suicide by jumping in front of a train, which A, sucks, and B, allows Paxton to get onto a leaving train undetected. But hold the fucking phone, because we are not done yet. While Paxton is on this train, he hears the Danish businessman being creepy with a new set of people and follows him to a bathroom when they get off the train and takes off the same fingers that he lost and poetically slits his throat before departing on another train.
Good job, Tawny.
It's so absurd to even try to like tell you what happened in this movie. Anyway, with that being all out on the table, Felicia, what did you think about this movie?
Okay, so I liked the movie. I did. I enjoyed the movie. It was enjoyable. It wasn't, I was nervous to watch the movie. I kept telling my older kids wanted to watch the movie with me, and I was like, guys, it's going to be really gory. It's going to be really bad. Tawny was saying it's really bad. I honestly didn't think it was as bad as I was anticipating it was going to be. It was definitely gory, but just like what you said, it wasn't like overly. I was so nervous because of that audition where she was sticking, and I couldn't even watch it.
Right. Yeah.
I didn't have that experience.
Oh, interesting.
With this
I'm
one.
really shocked, actually.
Yeah, the only once. I thought the worst by far was the cutting of the eyeball.
Yeah,
that
for sure.
was like, I was like, oh my God. And the kids were like, oh, stop it. Leave it alone. Are you sure you want to do that? Just leave it alone. Like, we were freaking out with that. We thought that definitely was the worst part of the movie for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it was overhyped. I overhyped the violence, even in this movie.
Yeah, I don't know. No, yeah, you overhyped it, Tawny. No, I don't know if more that some of, like, I'm thinking of one in particular where he's, I think that's when he was on the cart, when he was hiding under the bodies and he was on the cart and he's passing rooms and he sees the guy splayed open.
Yeah.
That it didn't look tremendously real, that
right.
You know, so it didn't like super gross me out, even though I was like, oh, that's nasty. He did want to be a surgeon, but it was gross, that one guy, and we'll get into it, but like chopping up the legs and like, you know, so it yeah
okay,
there wasn't like there was torture, but it seemed like it was quick. And there was a lot of movie, or like they would start doing something and then you wouldn't see it, like the cutting of the Achilles, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So there was a lot of that type of stuff.
One thing that I read as I was just doing research is that they actually don't show any of our main cast being killed, but they do show every time that Paxton kills somebody. And I thought that was interesting because I've never really like picked up on that until I read that, and I was like, that's true. Because Paxton kills the guy who's trying to torture him. He kills the American guy in there, you know, blowtorching Kana.
Yeah.
And then he kills the Danish businessman. And we see all of those things on screen, but we don't see anybody else really get murdered on scene.
Yeah, that's true.
Or in the scene, I guess I should say.
I know what you meant.
Yeah. Okay. So you liked it.
So I enjoyed it. Yeah, I
enjoyed it. Okay.
Yeah, I did. I
didn't hate it.
No, I did not hate it. Yeah, we'll get into it. No, at first I was like, oh God, with these guys. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? These guys are obnoxious. But no, I didn't. I enjoyed it. I was entertained by it.
Okay. Yeah. Good. How did the whole family feel? By the way, let me just tell you, listeners. Felicia messages me and she goes, my whole family's sitting down to watch Hostel. And I was like, oh boy, okay, well, I was like, a lot of nudity, a lot of gore, just preparing you for that. Because sometimes, like, I forget about how much actual, like, sex and nudity there is because, like, all of the gore overshadows that in my
There was more
memory.
Of that than there was gore.
Yeah, really.
Really.
And I forget until I'm watching the movie again, and I'm like, oh yeah, there's like just a lot of tits, just boobs, boobs everywhere, just
long shots of boobs. Yeah. So I said, guys, and just to clarify, TT was not watching it; she was in bed, but my older girls were. And Steve, my husband, loves, or I try to say he loves this movie. He saw this movie. So he remembers it as like, oh okay. Yeah, that was a cool movie, like, because he saw it when he was young, and so I think there was a nostalgic factor. And he's like, oh yeah, he remembered everything about it. So I was sitting there with the girls. I'm like, oh, Tawny said there's a lot of nudity, guys. And then walks in, there's the girls, and then they're naked, and then they're naked in the sauna, and then that one scene, it was just like the guys talking, and the woman's just riding that guy in the back, just like in the bunk bed. Like,
oh yeah,
like never ending. It's going, and I'm like, I'm sorry, guys. It's fine, Mom. It's fine. And I'm like, and it's really gory. If you guys don't want to see, you don't have to see it. But they sat through the whole thing, and I think maybe I made it seem like it was going to be a lot more horrific than it ended up being.
Yeah, oversold it, both of us. Me to you, and you to your children.
yes, the cycle.
Okay, so maybe that was a mistake, but I just want people to be prepared because it is like, it's pretty gross. Like, it's a pretty gross movie. But
no, yeah, it wasn't a bad thing though.
Yeah.
Because I was nervous to watch it. So I was like, oh God, what kind of torture are they going to do? They did screw with someone's eyes. That was not good. Like my oldest daughter, she leaned over to me and she goes, okay, are we talking fingernails, Mom? I can't watch fingernails. Is it going to be fingernails? I'm like, dude, I haven't seen it. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. It might be. From the way Tawny talked about it, it just might be. There was no fingernails, so it was okay.
Yeah, that's true. When you put it like that, there really is not a lot of that kind of like really super close up like violence. I don't know. Y'all already know this because I picked this movie, but I fucking just my overall like review of this movie. I fucking love it. I just love it. I watched it in, I think, a formative time, when I was like,
Yeah.
I think I saw this in theaters. Again, I'm like, how did I do that? I don't know. I must have been like 14. What did I say this was made in? 2005? I was 14. I was 14 when this came out. I don't know how I watched it, but I did, and it was really great. And the thing that I really appreciate about this movie is that even though paranormal is probably like my favorite genre, I love movies that are scary because they're realistic in the way that like this is a real thing that could happen.
Mm-hmm.
And this movie has nothing paranormal or crazy about it. Obviously we're taking an idea and we're taking it to level 10, but the idea is to commoditize, is that the right word? I don't know. You're creating people as commodities, and people are paying to come in and torture and murder people, which is a fucking terrifying thought to me. It scares ever-living shit out of me. It's scary.
Like I'm a huge, like advocate, not advocate, but advocate for ending human trafficking and
right.
all of that. It's terrifying. So when we were watching this, I said to my daughters, I was like, this is happening somewhere. Guaranteed. This is happening somewhere. Some crazy rich person is paying to torture and murder a human being. Somewhere this is happening. 100%.
Right. Like it's not so off from reality that it feels maybe impossible in the way that the movie sets it up to be, where it's like, a gigantic criminal organization, right? Like that. Oh. Do you know what I'm saying? Like that's maybe a little bit far-fetched.
Well, the whole thing with being a part of that secret society and stuff, I buy it.
Yeah.
Like in order to, oh my God, I buy it. Just think of that Nexium shit. That was just two lame-ass people who were like, the fucking girl was like, she was in the Superman series, and now she's making people tattoo shit on their bodies with her name. You know what I mean?
That's true. I mean, they weren't murdering people, but I hear what you're saying, and it is sort of like you get enough people involved in something that That
was just the next level, dude. That was the next level of their, 100%.
That's the thing, is it feels like it's somewhere in the realm of possibility, even if like you're like me and you feel like it's on the edges of reality, like it is something that could happen. Right?
I think it's happening right now. I think this is happening somewhere. 100%. If they literally, there are rich people paying to, for, child sex trafficking, there are people doing this somewhere.
Yeah.
So, sorry. Not even the edges. I think this is happening, hands down, someplace.
Okay, that's fair.
I don't mean to laugh about it. I'm just like, no. It's more like a crazy laugh.
Right. No, it's totally insane. Yeah, that's
it's insane to even think about it.
Yes. And I think that, maybe we're on just different places as far as what we think is actually happening right now, to what degree
happening
maybe.
Somewhere. I want everyone to know.
But it's like, but that's the scary part about it, right? Mm-hmm. Is like when you think about like sex work, like that is what it's like, the sale of human beings as a commodity. And this is just the next level of that, right?
Well, what they're doing in this movie is they're human trafficking people.
Right.
That's what they're doing. And, okay, and I'm just going to say one more thing. Human trafficking makes more money than weapons and narcotics. Like, it's insane. That's what, and this is totally, are you kidding me? And no offense to any guy, but you have some hot chicks that want to take you somewhere. You're a young guy, you're backpacking all over, just like these guys are. And these, cute young chicks want to take you off and screw your brains out. You're going to go. It would be so easy.
That's what I thought also was very realistic. Is there, like, the fact, I mean, I don't know. As a woman, I'm watching this movie and I'm like, why the fuck are you going to travel across countries to go try to hook up with people, like, no, never. But I recognize that I'm an entirely different, like, demographic than that is, right? Like, so
all
I
the
recognize.
guys listening, please comment if this would, because my daughter's asked me, she goes, oh, come on, would guys really do this? Is this really how guys are? And I'm like, I think so. Not all guys, but I think there are most definitely guys that thinking of backpacking to all these places and having sex with, you know, women on all these different places. Absolutely. Now, I don't think hostels are known for that. Are they? Are they known to be just like big sex places?
No, I don't think so. No.
I didn't think so either.
No, and I think there's a difference. I think the way that these guys talk to each other and the way that they interact is very like Jade was like, this is exactly how I used to talk to my friends in high school and shit. Like, yeah, like we were just like fucking douchebags kind of like, right? And so I think that is realistic, but I don't know. I also feel like, I can't help feel like, okay, you're going to try, because I looked it up, listen. I wanted to know how far away Amsterdam was from Slovakia, because I just was like, how far are they going to travel for this? 13 hours by train, which isn't actually that long, but like you're going to get on a train and go like 13 hours in the hopes that you can hook up with somebody. Like, I don't know. That part I do think was a little bit of a stretch. Like, even if you're a young dude out like trying to hook up with women, I don't know. I don't know. Exactly. Like, tell us.
Yeah, let us know if that you would do that, like in this situation where this kind of creepy-ish dude and everyone's like totally high and having sex all over the apartment, and he's like, yeah, man, go to Slovakia. Oh, the prime women. Are you going to now totally avert your plans? Totally.
Yes.
Just jump on.
Drop what you were doing. Get on a train for 13 hours to go have sex with these women that, like, this
might not even exist, but this random guy you've known for a hot second says there's a bunch of women out there.
I do think that they're, like, maybe over-characterized a little bit as, like, men. Like, I think we took it to like a next level, but I also think there's a lot of like realism in these characters. So I don't know. Let us know.
So we started with the guys, and when it first started, like, I couldn't stand them. Yuck, these guys. They made something. They were talking about a woman, and they said, "Are you into bestiality? Because she's a hog." They had like the most shitty things, disrespectful things to say about women. They were so yucky and stupid. And I was like, okay, if this is what young Americans do when they're not, no wonder everyone hates us. Like, it was, I would. They were so obnoxious. They weren't likable in any way. Like the King of Jazz. I guess
the King of the Swing.
The King of the Swing. Sorry, the King of Jazz. I was watching Soul, so I got jazz on the mind. The King of the Swing, and the other friend too that was a little bit more shy, was like trying to be cool, but was not. Not. Pax was the one that I was just like, dude, he's such a dick. Like, I don't like this guy at all. He's so gross. But yeah, I had that, and I literally wrote, I hate this guy, and then I wrote his name, Paxson. I hate him. The music too in the different scenes made me giggle. Kind of, it was like that music in The Orphanage, that one scene with the old lady. You know, there was a lot of, I put it's extravagant. Like, there's a lot of this, like, I don't know how to explain it, like extravagant classical dramatic music in the movie.
Okay.
That made me giggle a little bit, but it wasn't like that was horrible. But anyways, I liked the idea, and I liked how everything went down. It was funny, like all the sex and all the nudity. It was just like never ending. I started just as a mom sitting with my two kids. I was kind of like,
right.
I was like, okay.
To kind of add on to what you're talking about a little bit here, just one of the things that I do appreciate, even though you fucking hate these people on the front end, I like how they just portray the dumb American, right? Just to like, you're like, oh my God, hopefully this is not what we're like to other people. And I also hope, like, you know, I mean, obviously this movie was made like a decade, right? Is that right? Decade ago?
Even
decade
more.
Plus, almost 2 decades ago.
Mm-hmm.
And so hopefully, you know, this is not the level of what people think. But I did like how they just were like, dumbass Americans out here just do like that's what they obviously go to Amsterdam to smoke weed. Right? Like that is the thing.
Yes.
It's like I remember people talking about that in fucking high school. Right? It's just I liked how I kind of like how in the beginning you really don't like them. And you're like, fuck these these guys are just being dumb young adults.
Yeah, and that's scary because here I go back to the human trafficking. The human traffickers look for that shit. This is another very real aspect. Dumb, gullible foreign travelers, specifically Americans, coming over there, and young Americans being gullible and naive, and this is just adds to like this could totally happen. The story was great. I just have to say, what a scary idea. Very scary idea, like we just talked about. So I just wanted to call that out. Like I thought the story was just a great idea.
You know what else I think kind of lends itself to that story is that they are men, right? Like, and we talked about this before. Like, I feel like as women, we're so prepped to be fucking scared of everything and anything. Raped. Yeah, totally.
Right?
It's a possibility at any moment, right? Yeah. Like walking down the street, going to a bar, being in a different country is the least of, right? Any of those things. Like, it's just at any given moment, I could be attacked.
Unfortunately, yes.
That's how you feel, right? Just walking around. But for men, I don't think it exists at the same level that it does for women. Like, you're just not as scared to, like, go out into the world. So that's why these people are fucking prime targets also, is just, like, they don't think anything is up, really. They're just like, oh, whatever, fine.
Yeah.
Like, we'll travel 13 hours. These girls are into us?
Cool. Yeah, you're right. Absolutely. If someone else, what could they have possibly said to us that was 13
Bro, I'd be like, bitch, we got an itinerary, okay? Yes. Listen, we're not about to get on a fucking train and go 13 hours fucking east. We're not.
And I'm not the one that has an itinerary, but I also have, like, are you kidding me? Like, right. I'm not going to go get killed and raped out there.
In no world. Exactly. In no world. But
God, I don't know what could be out there that you could possibly convince me that we should go out and, unless it was like there is a base with real aliens and I could you could see them, but I still wouldn't trust them. I
don't
think
tell
they were
them
trying
that,
to hurt
Felicia.
me. I know, right now.
Just gave everybody. Now you'll have to be suspect anytime somebody brings that up.
Now I will.
I don't know though. If I were like 20, maybe.
What though? But what?
Like
it wouldn't be, there's a bunch of hot guys 13 hours away.
No, but it could. I think you could get me at 20 with like this is the biggest party in all of Europe. Yeah. And it happens once
like if it's a big festival or something.
I think I might feel a little bit like, dude, we're over here. Why don't we just go ahead and try it? Like, we're not going to come back. Like, let's just fucking do it. We're young.
Tawny is
let's go.
Killed.
Yeah, I did some questionable shit when I was younger.
I did too. I agree with that. I could probably see, especially if my friends were like, come on.
Right.
Especially if you were my friend, I guess. And you were like, come on, we're here for now. Let's just do it. I would probably go, all right.
You got a group of people, right? So you feel safe. You go, okay, we're together. We'll be okay. We'll just do it.
I thought it was really bizarre that he so easily went with her because now his other friend, one of his friends is missing. The other friend decided to go to the art show. And he's like, all right, let's go to the art show. It was just so random. You think your friend's at the art show. He just woke up, left the room and went to the art show. Like that was just so bizarre. And so anyways, they're at this art show and they're just kind of like, walking, can I pay you and stuff. And when we got there, my girls were like, are you kidding me? I would never get out at that place. There's no way there's an art show in there. But on the other hand, there was all those big, expensive, fancy cars parked too.
True.
So you may think that there was something, going on in there. I don't know what point I was making with that. I just thought it was silly. Yeah, you went to the art show. Art show? All right, I'll go to the art show.
Right.
Look at the fucking art show.
And again, though, I think as a man in the situation, again, maybe I'm stretching this too far, but I just think that you probably don't ever think you're in danger, or whatever danger you might encounter, you're probably all right. Like, you probably control
can handle it.
You know, yeah, you can handle it, and especially because she's the one who's walking him in. I'm sure he's thinking, what's
she's
she
going
gonna
in
do
there. Yeah,
to me? Like, I'm good, right?
yeah. And if this was a bad place, she's probably gonna get hurt.
Something.
If this was a bad place, she's not going to be walking in there in front of me if she knows that I'm going to get hurt here.
Right.
Is probably what you would think. You wouldn't think that she was in on the whole thing and getting paid for it.
It's maybe like a little unrealistic, but like, I think you can kind of get mentally to a point where you're like, okay, it makes sense. Plus, the other thing is he's trying to find his fucking friend. Like, Ollie, it's like, whatever, we didn't really actually know this guy. Like, what? It's not really a big deal. But like, my best friend, Josh, who is the person who didn't really even want to come out here, didn't really want to pay for sex, like, what? Where is he? He wouldn't have checked out and not said anything.
Maybe
where
he
is
would
he?
Go to an art show.
Right.
Maybe
I mean,
he is.
They make jokes all the way through the movie about him wanting to go see a museum, right?
Oh, shit. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I take back what I said. Yeah, you're right. He did want to see a museum. He was like, would it hurt? He said something about, would it hurt to go like see a museum or something like that? I forget exactly. Oh, you're right. Okay, you're totally right. Okay, something came to me that I have to mention, but it's all the way back in the beginning.
Go ahead.
That I thought was hilarious. And so did my daughters. And then, but my husband was like, that's how I would respond. Okay. I was so lost for a moment where they were talking to that weird guy,
Danish businessman.
Danish businessman. Thank you. The Danish businessman. They're kind of all talking to him. And then he puts his hand on, and he's like, get your fucking hands off me! It was like, I was like, what the fuck? And I was laughing. And I was like, what is happening here? And then my daughter goes, oh, do you think he's gay? Because in movies like, say, American Beauty, a lot of like that character in that movie who is secretly gay has a lot of aggression and anger towards gay men. So that's what she thought because it was so over the top. And then my husband goes, that's how I would react. I'm like, you would react if someone was talking to you and like placed their hand. It's not like he groped his balls. He like, maybe I didn't see. Maybe he did grab his leg. It looked like he, when you're talking to someone and you like put your hand, on their leg or when you're talking to them, that's what it looked like to me. It's like, that was so over the top. What a fucking ridiculous reaction. My husband's like, dude, some fucking guy grabs, and my husband is not like, oh, I'm a tough guy type, you know what I mean? But he's like, if some guy like grabbed my leg on a train, I would be like, dude, get your fucking hands off me. And I'm like, really? The guy was just talking to him. He's like, if he was saying that creepy shit to me and touched my leg, I'm like, okay, I missed something. Okay,
there was the lead up, right, where he says something to the effect of like, oh, a handsome man like you. And then his friends laugh at it because they like, it's like a whole awkward thing. Like, cause he's like, oh yeah, something about a handsome guy like you to the one guy, Josh, to him. So he's not talking to the whole group. He's just saying like, you're handsome, right? And then
oh, okay.
And so they say, that's awkward. I even think Paxton says, that's awkward. And so they're like making fun of this, like as it's happening. And then so when he touches his leg, it's like an extra level. I agree. It's like a way overreaction. And even Jade caught that part rewatching. And he was like, he goes, this is a little bit of a homophobic movie.
Yeah, see?
But I think the way that he reacts in front of his friends is realistic to a young person who is obviously maybe a tiny bit homophobic, right? Yeah.
Oh, so my oldest daughter said, Mom, what if I was sitting there? And if I was sitting there and some guy touched my leg, I would be, get your fucking hands off me, and I'd probably claw his eyes out. And I was like, well, yeah, you should. And she goes, then why can't he? I'm like, all right, I guess he can then.
Good
all
point.
Right.
Either way, it's awkward because he's singling out the guy.
Yeah.
Right? He's not talking to like, oh, a bunch of young, like, I feel like that's less harmless feeling. Like, well, a bunch of young guys traveling, they love you or whatever. It's like that would be creepy to anybody.
Then at the bar, though, doesn't he go up to him and say, "Oh, I'm so sorry I acted that way," and then doesn't he touch him?
He does. He puts his hand on that guy's
so
leg.
Awkward.
And then the Danish businessman is like, I love this part of the movie, actually, because it totally, like, flips everything that just happened in that first scene. Because then he's like, I'm going to paraphrase here, because it's all subtext. But he essentially says, but I grew up and I met a woman and I had a child. And now my daughter is the best thing in my life. And so you do you, but I'm straight. Like, that's, like, the vibe back to him.
Yes.
Which is, like, very funny. You don't expect that to come back around that way.
Yes. When is the one guy, the director of Audition?
Takashi Miike.
Yeah, when does he do his cameo?
It's when Natalia takes Paxton to the building, and they both get out of the car, and he sees Takashi Miike walking to the car, and he goes, "Hey," Paxton says, "Hey, how was it in there?" And Takashi Miike says, "Be careful. You'll spend all your money in there." Yeah.
Okay, cool. I thought that was the scene, but I wasn't sure. Yes. Oh, that was good. Okay.
Brilliant cameo.
Imagine if you thought you were going to an art exhibit, this guy, and he's like heavy breath too. Be careful. You'll spend all your money. He's probably like, probably not. Like, you're an art lover. That's for sure.
Maybe not me, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but I thought that was good. I thought it was a really nice line, because you still are like, okay, maybe it's an art exhibit. Maybe.
Yeah. What's going on in there? Yeah.
Yeah. I one of the things that I loved about this movie was, I don't remember if I mentioned this already. It is so funny. And I forget how funny this movie is until I'm rewatching it every time. When they go into that museum of torture, and they, like, the little guillotine cuts the stub in half. I just was like, what a fucking funny moment.
I love it. I love that.
And they say, this is what I was thinking about earlier when we were talking about Josh wanting to go to the museums. And as they run into the museum, he goes, "It's your lucky day, Josh."
I went to a museum of torture.
Did you?
I went to the London Dungeon when I was in the 8th grade and went to England with my parents, and we went to the London Dungeon.
Oh my God.
It was super cool. Oh my gosh, there was this is a total side note, but there was this house across the street from a community college I went to right out of high school. And it was this old house, and it was bought by a movie studio. And then it was kind of just like they didn't do anything with it, and it was just sitting there abandoned. Well, come to find out that when they bought this old house, it was super cool looking. It was like made out of stone. It was really cool. They found a hidden door to an attic, and the attic had torture devices. And all it said is that the torture devices were clearly had been used.
Ew.
So then they didn't do anything with the property, and they couldn't sell the property. And then I think they eventually sold it. I'm not sure, but I so bad wanted to sneak into that house.
What?
I mean, I would have wanted to do it like with you or like with friends, but I just wanted so bad to go into that creepy house.
Oh my God. Where was this?
So scary. Okay. So it was Solano Community College. So it was in Northern California, and it was a house right across the street. And if I'm remembering correctly, it was really like the only house because it was a big piece of land. It was a big piece of land in that house, and it was gated, and the front gates were they're black iron gates with big spiders.
Oh my God.
It was like a stone house, a huge property, and I was like, I guarantee there's like bodies in that property. Like, oh
For
my
sure.
gosh. So anyway,
we're gonna have to look it up.
That. Yeah, we'll have to look it up. Find some stuff on. Anyway, back to the story. So, the torturing. It was definitely, I was like, oh, gross. But it wasn't like I didn't have to cover my eyes or look away, except with the eyeball scene. Oh my God, the eyeball scene.
I know, it's so bad.
Oh my God, because you could just feel talk about raw nerve. You could just first of all, burning is I can't even imagine, the worst pain ever. And your eyeballs popping out. And he's going up, why, just go, just leave it.
Yeah.
And my daughter's like, just leave it, what are you doing? And then my one daughter goes, are you sure you want to do that? Are you sure you want to do that? And then he does it, and she screams, and this pus comes out of it. I'm like, oh my God, this is so fucking gross. That was by far the worst part for me. And does it make me a total asshole that if I made it out of there to a car, if I heard just tons of people screaming, I would have gotten the car and left.
I don't think so.
What am I going to do? There is so many people. They have chainsaws. There's just blood and guts and murder everywhere. I've lost my fingers. I am not going to go back into the building to save anyone except my kids. So if I thought my kids were in there, then I would. Anybody else? Like, Tawny, I love you. I'd be like, just come on, Tawny. I'm just kidding.
Free yourself.
Maybe. Okay, so now
you'd be
maybe.
You'd be like, I believe in you. Free yourself. Okay,
yes. Bye. I've been doing some manifesting. Hardcore manifesting work for you, Tawny. No, maybe I would, now that I say, like, Tawny. He did not know this girl, though.
No, he didn't.
At all. He didn't know her at all.
And he didn't know that it was her. But,
exactly.
I mean, this is exactly why they have that conversation earlier, plot-wise, in the movie, where he's like, oh, I watched a little girl die, and I could have saved her, and I didn't, and I had nightmares about it.
I totally forgot about that.
Yep. So there's this, like, thing happening, you know, it might be a little weak, but he does think, I should have saved that girl, right?
From drowning,
yeah.
Right? Oh, shit. He said that story, and I'm like, why is he saying this? And then I didn't put two and two together. I was just like, come on, get in the car and go and drive and, like, I don't know, tell someone in some other country or something.
Right.
Because obviously you can't tell the police there, right? Because they were in on it, so.
Realistic? Maybe not.
Can I tell you, that guy in the locker room was a great actor.
The best actor.
Dude, he was scary.
So scary.
Like, he was so scary because he was so excited and pumped, and he did it like, he was nervous to do it, but super aroused and excited to do it. It was so scary. I think he was the best actor in the movie.
I agree.
That scene.
I agree. So let me tell you something about him.
Okay.
He almost gave himself a concussion and bruised his head with the butt of the gun while filming that scene. Because he was like,
he's like,
so hard. Yeah.
God. He was good. Yeah.
Shockingly good. That's why I was like surprised that he wasn't in anything else that I recognized him in. Because I'm like, surely you'd look at this guy and be like, we need to cast him in like anything and everything. Like, he does such a good job of just being terrifying.
And that horrible thing he was, it was such a horrible thing he was doing to that woman, and he just, like, loved it. Oh God, I'm scared.
I love the moment where he's talking to him too, and he's like, because you can tell, Paxton is not doing a good job of pretending like he's supposed to be there. This is one of the things that drives me crazy in movies. I feel like I'm, like, immediately gonna pretend like I should be in this situation. Now, granted, obviously, I've never been in a situation like this, so I don't know how I'd react, but I feel like I would slip into just like, oh, nope, everything's fine. Everything's totally cool. Yes. Yep. Like, I'd be yes-anding my way all the way through this shit. I'd be like, yeah, totally. Yes, I did. No, I did it slow, and it was great. I highly recommend it. Listen, I gotta go. I have an appointment at another hostel or something, you know? Like, I gotta go. Bye. I feel like you can't say enough about this guy's performance. It made the whole movie, honestly.
I do want to say something about what you just said that me and all my daughters said. Fucking play the part, dude. Like,
yes.
Stand the fuck up. Stand up. Okay, I know you're losing your fingers. I know you lost your fingers. But you know what? We talked about this in the orphanage. And Tawny just said you can, like, run on some broken shit when you have the adrenaline. Just stand up.
You're not going to die. Yeah,
I know
you're gonna be
this
okay.
is shocking. Yeah, just stand up. The guy's asking you, how was it? It's fucking great, man. Like, I don't know. You can be out of breath because you just did the murdering and torturing of a person, but why are you standing there? Blah, blah. Like, fuck, you're going to get killed. We did the same thing, the exact same thing. We were like, come on, man. And he's like, should I do fast? Should I do slow? Just say, oh, yeah, enjoy it, man. I don't know. Just fucking stop. And then when he was like, let me see yours, I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
Oh, God, I was so scared.
And it just happens to be that he gets distracted by the knocking on the door where he's like, hold on. And then he's like, let me ask you, how do you do it? Fast or slow? Yeah. It's like so good. And then when he comes back in, I love how he's all, hey, buddy. he's all, hey, buddy. Hey, or whatever. Like, it's like he's
yes,
familiar
yes.
at first. Like,
oh, hey, buddy. Yeah, that was great. Oh my God, that guy was great.
yeah, other moments that I just want to note that I thought were very funny. I love that moment when he's like, he's talking to the girls and they're like, oh yeah, he went to the art show or whatever. You want to go? And you're like, I feel like that situation is so tense because you're in his shoes and you just like want to know what's happening. And he's like, I want you to take me to them. And they're like, have a drink. You know, they keep being like, just sit down and have a drink with us. And he's like, I don't want a fucking drink. And he goes, I want to see some art. That's another one of my favorite funny moments.
Oh, shit. Yeah, that was so silly.
It's like,
but yeah, the girls, they look all tired and wasted, not how they usually look, right? Their eyes are all black and they look kind of ragged.
yes.
It's like a whole different side. I do have to say I loved the revenge. So that was great. Like when they're standing there, I'm like, run him over! And then he did, and we're like, yeah! And then he ran her over again. That was awesome. I wasn't expecting that. She's all crunch, crunch, crunch underneath the car. It was great.
Oh my God. She gets hit. Like hit.
Yeah.
And
it was great.
Yeah, I feel like I always forget. Did he put the car in reverse and run him over again? No, it's the second car. It's the car that's chasing them, who obviously does not give a shit about them.
Oh, I didn't realize that until you just said it.
Yep, it's because he runs her over enough to knock her down, and then she's like about to get up off the ground when the second car comes through and runs her over.
I thought he put it in reverse and ran her over again. I'm like, damn, he took time. Because not only is he trying to get away, he's like, I've got time for this.
Right. But I also like how you see, like, everybody else hits their heads on rocks and shit. Like, you just assume, like, oh, they're dead. All of them are dead.
All of them are dead. And you're like, that would not kill everybody. But no, yeah, everybody flew perfectly.
Right.
Knock their heads. They're done.
Taken care of. Yeah.
Yes. That was great. And then, of course, the last scene. That was great. He got that guy. Because at first, when he's going after the guy, we were like, come on, man, just get on the train and get out of there.
Right.
You know what I mean? Don't go following this guy and then what? Like get captured again? Like just get on the train and get out of there. But then after he just tears this guy apart, you're like, yeah, that was awesome.
I love this scene. It's like the best scene. And actually they shot a different ending and they did test screenings and the audience didn't like it as much. Because it was like, he was on the train with his daughter, and so Paxton took his daughter prisoner, and I think that's like where it ends. And so you don't know if he's trying to kill her or trying to save her or whatever. I think it's on the DVD. I think it's like an alternate ending on the DVD. But people were like, this doesn't feel satisfying enough or exciting enough, really. And so they reshot this second one where he gets revenge on this guy. And every fucking time I get pumped up. Like, I don't react a lot. Like, we've talked about this a little bit. Like, I'm not like a big reactor while I'm watching shit. But every time I watch this movie, I forget, like, about how the sequence plays out. So I love that he puts his hand down on the ground and he cuts off the same fucking fingers. And then this guy's flipping out in the stall or whatever. And he fucking kicks that stall door in. And it knocks him the fuck in the head. Like, it's such a shocking moment. Like, I can't help but every time it happens, I'm like, whoa, like, oh shit. Like, I'm always so excited to see the stall door hit him, and he flies, like, he twists around and hits his head on the wall. Like, it's so fucking violent. God, and then he like drowns him for a long time. And I love the poetic nature of just the slit throat in the reflection, just like Josh. He obviously can't know that because he wasn't there, but it's such a satisfying ending.
I totally agree. I'm so glad, Tawny, this would have been a different conversation if he just kidnapped that guy's kid. Because there's no satisfaction in that. First of all, if he's killing this innocent kid, that sucks. Rescuing her from what? He's not going to be able to rescue her from anything. He's going to go to jail for kidnapping this kid. Like what?
Right.
You know what I mean? it leaves too much. There's no satisfaction in that ending at all.
Yeah, I agree. I think this
So
was
I'm so glad they didn't do that, because I would have been like re-experiencing, I know you liked it, but a missed situation here
Right.
with the ending, if that's what it was.
And you know I love a good revenge movie. So the
Yes.
fact that he actually gets to find him and fuck him up is so satisfying.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
Are you ready for some trivia?
I am ready. Let's do it.
So let's start with just story and how this movie got made. So
Okay.
I guess that this movie came to be after Quentin Tarantino and Eli Roth started to become friends. Quentin Tarantino was like, come over to my house and just watch movies, right? Like, so that's how they started their friendship, which I think is very cute and realistic. And he was talking to Quentin and he was like, yeah, I'm getting all these, like offers to direct and whatever these movies, and I keep turning them down. I don't know if that's the right thing, if I should be doing that. And I guess he was like, I want to write and direct. And Quentin Tarantino was like, well, what ideas do you have? Like, tell me your ideas. And he told him this idea for Hostel, and he was like, that is a fucking fantastic idea. You need to make that movie. So Eli Roth left and wrote this script over like 2.5 weeks. And like,
Oh, wow.
he said he was possessed. Like, he like went and like wrote the script, brought it back to him. He was like, I wasn't even taking meetings or whatever. I brought it back to Quentin and I was like, okay, read through this. And so he did, and he just gave him feedback. He said, listen, this is really great, but it could be better. Like, there are several moments in the script that could only happen in a movie, and the only way this works is that it feels like it could happen. It feels like it's realistic. So let's rewrite some of these things and see, like, how would you and I escape? Or how would you and I get out of this situation? And so he helped him in the writing process. And that's how this came to be. So if you notice on the front end of this movie, it says Quentin Tarantino presents.
Yeah.
So I think he probably acted as like an executive producer, or I don't know what he's credited as. I meant to look it up, but I forgot for this movie. But he was a part of the writing process with Eli Roth, which I thought was really neat.
That's a cool story.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And the trailers bill this film as inspired by true events. So
Oh, shit.
Eli Roth says that he found a Thai website that advertised itself as a quote-unquote murder vacation, offering users the chance to torture and kill someone for the price of $10,000. According to the story, videos of a random person walking into a room and shooting someone in the head were posted on the internet. Roth later showed the site to Quentin. Tarantino and Roth said later on an Icelandic talk show that they have no idea if the website was real or not.
Told you. Dude, Tawny, I love you, but I know.
But I know.
You have a happier outlook on the world. No, I'm just kidding.
No, I think you're right. I tend to like look at stuff like this and say,
that's terrifying.
I tend to be like, it can't be exactly that, right? Like, I think, that could have been a fake website. It could have been somebody just fucking around. Anyway, but in relation to this, Eli Roth initially wanted to do a documentary on this subject.
Oh, yes.
However, as he was doing research, he found it almost impossible to get in contact with people involved in such a business, which fucking duh.
Yeah,
obviously.
Yes. Can I totally expose you and everything you do for my documentary?
Right. Sure. Thanks, police.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my gosh.
And he felt like he could put himself in danger for asking around, so he decided to use the subject for a fiction movie instead.
Oh, that's scary.
Yeah.
Oh, I bet he's on a list. What
Probably.
did he have to Google to find that website?
Right, exactly.
What was he looking at where he came across that website?
Good question. I mean, but, you think of Eli Roth and being interested in super gory stuff.
Yeah, I'm trying to get inspired.
I did want to say, though, that I did come across in my research that Eli Roth is really fucking squeamish about real blood. Like, he can't deal with seeing, like, real blood and stuff, but movie blood is a totally different story. So I just think that's more evidence to why he's not just a total fucking psychopath anyway. Okay. So moving on to just some general trivia that I have about this movie. So he asked the president of Iceland for an official pardon for making Icelanders look like drunken sex maniacs with the character of Ollie. The president laughed and gave Roth the pardon, saying it represented a side of Icelanders not shown in films. Roth also issued a formal apology to the Icelandic Minister of Culture for all the damage Hostel may cause to Iceland's reputation.
Oh my God, to take it that far. That's awesome.
I know, I thought that too. And I have some other good notes about like what this looked like, but also I have some not so great notes, so it's both. Eli Roth wanted to have the world premiere of the finished film at the 2005 Iceland Film Festival. I don't think that's the case. I think it was somewhere else. But during the festival, Roth and Quentin Tarantino were made honorary Vikings at Viking Village in a ceremony arranged by Ithor Gudjonsson, who played Ollie. Roth's Icelandic name is Eli Sheldonsson, and Tarantino's Icelandic name is Quentin Kanasian. I don't know how to say these, and I apologize.
Shut up.
Isn't that funny?
I want to be a Viking. How do you go about being able to do that? You have to,
I don't know.
You have to make a movie out there?
Maybe, or maybe you have to have somebody vouch for you, like he did.
Oh, I want to be a Viking.
Okay, we'll work on that.
Not like I don't want to be a Viking. That's
right.
a lot of work.
No, you want to be an
honorary Viking.
Yeah, you want to be an honorary Viking. But like I said, it's not all good. So, Tomas Galbavy, a member of the Slovak parliament, said that he was offended by this film, and I think all Slovaks should be too. And the tourist office in Slovakia invited Roth to a trip with all the expenses paid to show him that the country was not made up of abandoned factories and children who killed for chewing gum. For his part, Roth said that the film was not meant to be offensive, ensuring that Americans do not even know that this country exists, which I think is both insulting and also very true.
Bingo. Yes, both. Not like a way to get them to, be like, oh, okay, I get it.
Right.
Oh my God, that's funny. Yeah, okay, so the kids. That was one thing. I was like, what the fuck with these kids? Like, this is silly. Like, why do they have these kids that keep these tough kids? I think that this is just stupid. This is silly. However, I liked when they beat up the bad guys for the chewing gum, for the candies, the gum. So I thought that was really cool, that scene. But throughout the whole movie, I was like, oh my God, already with these kids. This is stupid.
Yeah, it does feel a little bit like it doesn't necessarily need to be in there. Like, it's like kind of an extra thing. But he did hire real street kids to play that whole gang.
Oh, wow.
Which
so
I
there
thought
are street kids in.
Yeah, whatever that means. I don't know.
Yeah.
Right, like it could be.
In Slovakia, is that where it was? Sorry.
I think it was actually shot in the Czech Republic.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So this guy's saying there's not street kids, but there are street kids.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think this guy's saying, like...
well, they don't kill for chewing gum. That was a misrepresentation.
Right. And there's not just abandoned factories where people are making money killing people. Like, it's not like a poverty, like a third world.
I think everyone knows that, for
I know.
Christ's sake. Well, not knows that it's not like a third world. I have no idea. You're right. I have no idea what this place looks like.
Right.
I don't think everyone would assume, because this movie has this horrific human trafficking situation happening, that that's really happening over there.
Right. So to continue what he said.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
No, you're fine, because I stopped in the middle of the quote, too. So then he goes on to say, my film is not a geographical work, but aims to show the ignorance of Americans about the world around them. Roth has repeated many times that despite movies like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, people still continue to go to Texas.
Fucking mic drop with that one. Like, yes, it is stupid to be so fucking worked up that you think like everyone's gonna think this because of this movie. I love that.
Yeah.
Oh my God, what a mic drop comment.
I thought you would like that.
I like it a lot. I like it a lot.
The movie is part of a horror subgenre known as the splatter film, a term coined by George A. Romero to describe Dawn of the Dead from 1978. However, critic David Edelson labeled the film torture porn, thus coining the term used for splatter films in the 21st century. So torture porn was then retroactively applied to earlier films like Saw from 2004. So I didn't realize that this was actually the birthplace, the birth movie of torture porn.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So can I say, you just reminded me, when I was telling my family, okay, this is like really, really gory. Tawny told me it was really gory. And they're like, oh, really? Like, how gory? And I'm like, well, it's called torture porn. That's what I said.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh my God, Mom, what are you having us watch? I'm like, no. It's not like sexual torture, even though they use the word porn. That's not what it means. And then there was all this sex. And so they were like, are you sure, Mom? I'm like, no, I'm not sure of anything anymore.
Are you sure, Mom? Have you let us down the straight path?
I was like, no, Tawny would give me a heads up if that's what it was. No way, no. But I was like, oh shit, I hope it's not.
I mean, there is a lot of sex. I did try to warn you about that. I was
but
like,
no one's getting tortured. It wasn't torture sex, so.
No, yeah.
That's good.
Oh, shit. Okay, so now I just have some production trivia left.
Okay.
But I do have a handful of production trivia. So they stay in room 237, which is a reference to The Shining.
Oh. Which Tawny hates. No, I'm just kidding. Oh, that's cool. I like that.
I know, I thought that was neat. Like, again, you can see that these references, like, time and time again. We'll get through some more of them.
I love Stephen King.
Yeah. I like Stephen King, too, but I just didn't like The Shining. But I have very specific reasons, so I'm sorry. It's worth a rewatch. I might like it more the second time.
You know what? And I might like it less. I saw it so many years ago. I don't even really remember, but...
Yeah. The interior of the slaughterhouse was filmed at a functioning mental hospital in Prague, built in 1910, in a wing that had been closed for over 50 years. Building 10, where many of the scenes were filmed, was where the craziest patients were taken. The basement was so creepy that Eli Roth had a string quartet playing classical music to make it feel cozier while shooting, which actually I feel like would do the opposite.
Yeah, totally.
Don't you think that would be weird?
Oh my gosh, you just gave me cold chills.
Creepy.
That is creepy.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that. Oh, wow.
The character of Natalia was deliberately shown to get uglier, quote unquote, throughout the film, just like her personality. I thought that was an interesting note.
Yeah. I mean, she wasn't ugly, but she definitely looked worn.
Right, tired.
Right. Yeah, she looked like she was on drugs, and that's clever. I didn't catch that. I liked how it was a definite difference. You could see the difference of who they were truly, who these women truly were versus the show they were putting on to try to capture these boys.
Right.
Yeah, definitely saw that, but okay.
They stopped, like, talking to them, right? Like,
just even in their demeanor. So they're like these really cute, like, I mean, they're always cute, but you know what I'm saying? Like, really put together. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, their makeup is flawless. They're really put together and really happy. And then they're just like, they literally look like junkies. Right. When they see him in the bar. Yeah.
Yeah. You go from like the scene in the sauna, right? Where they are so fucking engaged with the craziest person in the group, Ollie, right? Like the fact that he turns around and talks with a clapping butt with like eyeballs drawn on it, and they laugh like they actually think it's funny. Yeah. And then he starts like singing this, I think it's like a Russian song, and she sings along with him. You're like, in no realm of possibility does this situation exist. Like you'd be like, fucking gross, get out of here. Leave us alone. But they're playing along, obviously, because they're trying to bait these guys into this whole situation. But they do a good job of pretending, I feel like.
Yeah, yes, I agree.
And then as we go through, like, compare that scene to the very last scene where they're talking in, like, a different language in front of him. Like, they don't even want to deal with him, right? And so it's just interesting. You do see that veneer come down as the movie goes on. Over 150 gallons of blood were used in the making of this film, nearly 3 times the amount used on Eli Roth's first film, Cabin Fever.
Oh, okay.
And check this out. This is going to shock you. I don't know if I'm saying this name right, so I apologize. But I think it's Jan, Jan Vlasak, who played the Dutch businessman, didn't speak a word of English. He learned his lines phonetically.
Oh, wow. That is impressive.
Shocking.
Yeah. Oh my God. That's amazing.
I know. Like, how many times, I mean, you just have to think, like, how many times would you have to record that to get it right if you weren't a native English speaker?
Yeah, because it sounds right.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
Really great job.
Yeah, good job.
The porn film that the guard at the factory watches on the DVD player is Sex Fever from 2003, which is an X-rated parody of Eli Roth's first film, Cabin Fever.
Shut up! That's great. I love that.
I guess a woman made it who was on set for Cabin Fever and, like, went and made this movie, didn't tell him about it, so he didn't even know until it was, like, created and, like, released out into the world, but he, like, wasn't mad about it or anything.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh, funny. That's a fun tip.
I know, because I didn't like that part. Like, I was just like, okay, again with the, like, porny stuff, but it, like, at least it has some sort of, I don't know, relation. It made it funny for me.
Yeah, totally.
Eli Roth put nearly every single crew member in the film, including production accountant Mark Bakunis, who appears on a poster in the background of 3 different scenes for his fictional rock band, Bakunis and the Essential Elements.
Oh, shut up. That's so cool.
I thought that was fun.
That is fun.
And I don't remember if I put a note in here, so I apologize if I'm gonna fuck this up. The guy at the hostel who is at the front desk.
Yes.
After the woman, he like, the person who was supposed to play him didn't even, like, show up that day. So that guy is just a crew member that they fucking grabbed and put in that role. Isn't that crazy?
Oh, that's fun. Yeah.
Because he does a really fucking great job too, and they bring him back in Hostel 2, and he's, like, just phenomenal.
Oh, that's cool.
When Josh and Paxton return to the hostel with the girls after the disco and have sex, the song in the background is How Do by the Sneaker Pimps, a remake of the song Willow sings to seduce Sergeant Howie in The Wicker Man from 1973.
Oh, there's The Wicker Man.
Which is also a film about townspeople conspiring against an outsider.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it is.
Cool.
I saw that movie, The Wicker Man, with my mom. My mom was young when she had me and watched a bunch of... You know, it's funny that I say that because she was young when she had me, but I'm, like, watched it with my kids. But, you know, the difference is I was TT's age.
Right.
I'm pretty sure when my mom watched The Wicker Man with me.
Your 2 older girls are, like, almost adults. Like,
yeah, they're like literally one of my kids is just a few months away from being, like, an official adult, but... Yeah, I was TT's age. And younger, watching horror movies.
Yeah, same. I mean, it just shaped us as we.
Yeah, I can't wait to rewatch. Adults. Yeah, we are, and we love horror. Yeah. I can't wait to watch The Wicker Man and rewatch it because it's been years and have you watch it.
I'm so excited too because I have never seen it and it's, like, talked about all the time and people fucking love it. I think I'm gonna like it also because it's in the 70s. Like, I'm becoming a fan of 70s horror movies. The 80s missed the mark for me. Too crazy, too comedic. I don't know. 70s is where it's at for me.
I feel like there's going to be a lot to talk about, and I know you love those episodes where
I do.
A lot to talk about. So, yeah. Sorry. Back to this episode with a lot to talk about.
Okay, so let me tell you about some more cameos. So at around 9 minutes, Quentin Tarantino appears as a shirtless German man screaming from a window.
Oh, shit! I didn't recognize him.
Also, Eli Roth is in here too. He is the American customer in a Boston Red Sox jersey in the Amsterdam coffee shop, laughing at his friend who is struggling to take a hit of a bong. It's real fast.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
But I didn't catch it because I was so focused on his friend.
Yeah.
That was struggling.
Because he like blows. The water goes everywhere. It's crazy. After Josh has his Achilles tendon sliced, much of his screaming is real. So while writhing in pain, the actor accidentally pulled up the chair and brought it down on his foot, nearly splitting his toe in half.
Oh my gosh.
Ew.
Oh.
It's got to be so heavy. The chair with you on it.
Yes.
Ugh.
And then they were just like, keep going, man. Like, good for him that he just, like, kept going. So been like, cut, my foot.
Cut.
Cut, my foot.
We gotta take 5 days off, and then I'll come back.
Yeah, exactly. Oh.
I wanted to take this moment because I feel like this guy does a really fantastic job of being fucking terrified. Like the acting, I feel like there's a couple moments of shaky acting. It's not, I don't know. There are moments that that really shine, and I feel like this guy being fucking terrified is like level 10 acting. I buy it 1000%.
Yeah,
he's doing such a good job of being terrified, and so his screams really sold it. But knowing that it actually happened, I think helps, right?
Yeah.
Like he actually hurt himself. So yeah. So there's a scene where Paxton gets, put in a chair, and this guy comes in and he's speaking to him in German.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you felt this way, but I was like, what the fuck is he saying to him? I wanted to know because it doesn't come up in the subtitles.
Yes.
So I actually found that. So he says, if you kill me, it'll destroy your life. Every time you close your eyes, you'll see me. I'll be in your nightmares every night, your whole life. I will ruin it. That's what he says to the torturer. So, but I'm curious to know your opinion on this scene. What do you think this guy was feeling in that moment?
This is what I read into the scene. That there he had like this. He seemed nervous, like that he was doing this, especially to another human being. For some reason, I read that scene when Paxton started speaking. He was speaking German, right? You just said that. Yeah. He was speaking German, that it made it close to home for this man. That's what I thought. This is another, like someone from your homeland, someone from your home. This is another German man. That's how I saw it because I didn't know what he was saying. So I thought that that's why he was having second thoughts, was because it broke that this guy really wanted to do it, but he was nervous to do it. And now this is another German man. What is he doing? And that's what kind of broke that, what am I trying to say? Not hypnotic, but like this idea or this grand idea he had of, what am I trying to say? The vision of what this experience would be like.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That broke him out of character. That's what I'm trying to say. It broke him out of character and came too real for him. That's what I thought.
Okay. So it took a few hours to fully apply Jennifer Lim's, who played Kana, burned face / dangling eye makeup. The makeup was so realistic that when she looked at herself in the mirror for the first time it was applied, she began to cry. She said that she would understand why her character would commit suicide after seeing the effects of the torture done up on her.
I'm glad that circled back because I was thinking about, I want to make sure I talk about that scene before we wrap. So that was awesome. I thought that was a really good scene of how she's just walking and you just knew. Well, my girls didn't know. When she looked in and saw her reflection and then she started walking to the crowd, my kids were like, what are you doing? Get down. People are going to see you. And I'm like, she's going to kill herself. And they're like,
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think the first time I saw this movie,
man.
I was like, no fucking way. No, I didn't believe it. I was like, why would you kill yourself? It's really, Like, you can live a full life. But the more that I watch this movie, every time I rewatch, the more that gets reinforced, because I can see how somebody would feel that way. And even more than that, I think she gives him just the tiniest nod, I feel like. Like, it's not like a super visible, she may not nod at all, really, but she looks directly at him before she jumps in front of the train. And I think on top of not wanting to continue on with her life, she's saying, I'm about to create a distraction. You better get the fuck out of here. Take this opportunity. Because he's like, Kana, no. What are you doing? Get over here, Kana. Like, he's trying to be like, no. What are you doing? Get over here. You know, and she's like, nope, I'm fucking out of here. You better get out of here too.
Yeah, I agree. I thought that was a really good scene. And then when she's walking through and no one just realized her, I'm like, geez. I know. I thought to myself, she's got to like put that jacket up over her head or something. Like, she's got to kind of hide her face a little bit. People are going to be like, oh, you're going to start a panic. People are going to want to help you. And then you're going to have to go back to some hospital in this town, you know, and then...
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, and didn't just get caught again, is what I was thinking.
Oh, God, yeah, that would be the worst. But I feel like after watching that scene several times, no one actually looks at her. She kind of walks behind people, so it feels like it's not super crazy that they don't notice right away. But the other thing that I didn't like about the scene is I literally wrote down, like, that train is not moving fast enough. To fucking, like, they show it, like, I think 3 times. And each time it's, like, moving very slow. Yes. And then she, like, jumps in front of it and all of that happens really fast. Yeah. And I was just like, I don't know. Like, make it fast or something.
That train was fast. That one was.
Right at the end. It's
like, boom, 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 bam!
Not enough.
No.
So the last thing I have is just that Eli Roth said that the scenes set in Amsterdam in the brothel and the slaughterhouse, when Paxton like walks through and sees the things, is supposed to like mirror each other. So like I think it's when Josh is walking through the brothel and is like walking door by door and seeing the silhouettes of people, and then obviously in the slaughterhouse where Paxton is walking, or he's looking in as he's getting wheeled by. Right. All of what you said, like the people getting tortured and opened up. And it says, with the former being an extreme view of sex and the latter being an extreme view of violence. Ooh. So they are supposed to mirror each other.
Oh, interesting. Makes me want to go back and take a look.
Yeah.
Something else. Sorry, I'm just going back to the girl who killed herself. Something else, like totally, you have your life to live. You think her mental state right now too, though, right? Not only is she seeing her physical appearance, but she just escaped this horrific experience. Her mental state is she's had no time to recover. She's had no time to calm down. Yeah. It's just all of that compounded, I think.
Yeah, she doesn't even have time to like take a moment. She's just
like, what just happened to me?
Yeah.
Because what happened to me? Like, she probably still doesn't even fully understand. Like, she was kidnapped and this guy was torturing her, but why? Like, what?
Yeah, she doesn't know all of the context that we know as the viewer, or Paxton, right? She doesn't know that people paid to do that. Yeah, exactly. I think that's a good point.
So,
Anywho, so we've arrived now at what are you going to rate this movie?
I don't want you to hate me. Because I love you so much. I really feel, looking through all my other reviews, that I would rate this a 3.25. Okay.
All right. That's not bad. I thought it was going to be worse than that.
Okay, no.
As you were setting it up, I was like, oh God.
You're like, don't tell me this is lower than the Pet Cemetery.
I was like, are we headed for a 2 right now? Like, don't give me a 2.
And it's so hard, sometimes I feel like maybe one day when we start a new season, even though we don't do seasons, because I want to be like Joe Rogan where we're at episode 1000.
Yeah, exactly.
But maybe we turn things on its head and get it out of 10. So we have more numbers to choose from. Because I look through and I'll see and I'll go, okay, well, I really enjoyed this movie, but I only gave it a 3. However, it was something I gave a 3.75, maybe. You know what I mean? It's hard.
Yeah.
I want more numbers, even though it kind of equals the same. But I would say a 3.25.
Okay. I get you and I hear you. And I respect you.
Okay.
And I'm so terrified to go to a 10-point scale. Not that it should be any different than a 5-point scale, but just for some reason, every time I think about rating something on a 10-point scale, I'm like, oh God, I'm going to have to rethink everything. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know why I feel that way, but I do.
I don't know. I mean, it's technically the same as far as where they land. I just feel like I'll have a little more wiggle room. Like I can rate this thing a 3, this thing a 2. Or no, I wouldn't. A 3 is very low. Like I have this whole range from 5 to 8. So I have the 5, 6, 7 range and the 5.25 and the 6.75. There's like so many numbers to choose from. But I feel like I could really give a more accurate numbers.
Okay, that's fair. Maybe we'll talk about it. We'll see.
Yeah, okay.
Let me warm up to the idea over several months because I'm not ready to make that jump yet. I like a 5-point scale.
Okay.
I have to give this movie a straight up 5 because it's one of my favorites and I love it and I think it's scary and I think it's funny and every time I rewatch it, I love it and I'm giddy about this movie. So,
That's awesome. I love that. You know what? It's kind of like I was looking here how you hated Poltergeist and I loved it. But there was so much from Poltergeist, so much nostalgia. It scared me so much. There was just a lot there for me. So I get it. I totally get it.
Yeah, totally.
And you hated on that movie hardcore.
I did, and I apologize to everybody about it. Yeah, but this is like one of those that I watched when I was like younger, like I said, like in kind of my formative years. And it definitely like impacts how I feel about movies, looking forward in my life. Like, I think if I hadn't watched this movie, I wouldn't have the same respect and admiration for like Audition as I do. Mm-hmm. And so you can just see that that's influenced my taste and I just love it. Yeah. And I love Eli Roth and what he's done and his movies. So
it was good. It was good. And I'm glad it wasn't as what I was expecting. I'm actually glad it wasn't just as horrific as I was expecting.
I mean, I'm just shocked. I mean, I guess I overhyped it, but I just can't. Even I've watched this movie like several times and again, I'm going to watch it. And even I am like squeamish at the point that after he slices that Achilles and he goes to stand up and it, ugh.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, ugh. Like.
I did. I shouted on.
Yeah.
You guys got to jump over and just fast forward to the very end to see these like body movements and faces that Tawny's making. So everyone, we love you and we don't know what our next episode is. Not yet. This is the first time we don't know, but our next episode will be with Do I Like This Podcast? So we are working the final things out with them, like which movie we're going to watch and all that goodness. But you will know before the episode's released because on the first of the month, we always let you know what we're going to be reviewing for the month. So we will have that for you. And we're really excited to find out what we're going to talk to them about too.
Yes, I'm so excited for that. So that'll be really great. And, let me just take this moment to also say, Felicia, just so you're prepared, like emotionally and mentally, the next movie that I get to pick, we are watching Hostel 2. Because...
Oh, shit.
Because the whole time I'm watching Hostel, I'm like, shit, this is a great movie and I love it. And Hostel 2 is fucking just as great. If in some ways, I would argue it's better.
Okay.
In some ways. In some ways... I don't know. We'll have to see. But I think you specifically are going to enjoy Hostel 2 more than Hostel 1.
Okay.
So I just need you to... That's all. I just need you to emotionally prepare for that. And so I guess the last thing just is that you can find us anywhere, social media wise. We are Two Chicks in a Horror Flick on Instagram. That's kind of our hub. You can find the rest of our accounts through there, except for Twitter. We're Two Chicks HF. But you can find us on YouTube if you don't like to listen to podcasts on podcast platforms.
You can look at us while we talk.
That's true. It's just our faces the whole time. So if you want that, you can, there you go. And we also have our Patreon. If you want to support the show, you can go to our Patreon. We have 3 awesome tiers, and we have some cool perks over there. Or if you also want to support the show, something that you can do for us is give us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you're listening to us on whichever platform. And does that cover it?
Yeah, just want to thank everybody for voting for our final episode of March. Thank you so much for voting. We really appreciate that. We'll let you know who the winner is on the 1st when we post the results of what we're going to be watching. So
I also want to say we are doing an episode with Horror Movie Crew. They're coming on our podcast finally.
Yep.
This in March. Well, I say this month, but it's not March yet. But you know what I'm saying. So they'll be on our podcast, and so very exciting month. We had an extra week, so that's why we threw that poll up there. Yeah.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun month. And then the next few months, we will have guests.
Yes.
And so we will let you know who they are. We are very honored and excited to have them on the show. So
yeah, thank you so much for listening. We love you, and we hope you have such a good night. No nightmares.